The man who shot was the old man. A familiar voice sounded. Then an old face appeared in front of Yi Ming. Yi Ming was startled and shouted, Dunzun. You call me master later. It was Dian Zun who came, and he looked at Yi Ming with a smile. Yi Ming froze, and immediately said, Apprentice meets master. Dian Zun smiled. He must be full of doubts, right? Yi Ming nodded. Yes, why did Dian Zun kill me? I didn't kill you. I performed the magical, big reincarnation, for the teacher, and sublimated your life. Now you feel it. Has it changed a lot? Dian Zun asked with a smile. As soon as Yi Ming worked hard, he was shocked to find that his Yuan Ying and his physical body were more than twice as powerful, and suddenly stupid, murmured, Great reincarnation. Why did master do this? Dian Zun sighed. Before that, I told you to be a taboo teacher. The teacher's name is Aoshan. When he was young, he ran across the world and dared to fight against the Lord God. Perhaps because of this, too many enemies were formed, resulting in hundreds of thousands in the past year. 12 people have been killed. This time, I must not let the same thing happen. That's why I have used these strategies to give you another identity to appear in the world. Quote. Yi Ming had heard a similar statement from Su Beijian, and could not help wondering, what power is the other party that can continuously kill people under Dian Zun's eyelids? Dian Zun sighed. I have been following for years, and although there are clues, I cannot find the killer. Dian Zun made me anonymous, so the other party couldn't find out. Yi Ming murmured in his heart, feeling that the matter was not secure. Dian Zun laughed. In fact, you are not a true heir. Yi Ming was shocked and almost jumped up. What? I'm not a true heir. Waiter. Is my destiny a waiter? Yi Ming was a little lost, and instantly understood what the palace's true plan was. It turned out long before that, the successor of Dian Zun already existed, but outsiders didn't know it. Dian Zun. Do you think this is unfair? Yi Ming smiled bitterly. There is nothing unfair. Dian Zun chose brother as his successor, which shows that his qualifications are above me. Yes, he is a genius rarely encountered for 100,000 years. To find him, his teacher has endured a lot of hard work, even at the expense of killing other powers, offending many forces. Dian Zun sighed. Yi Ming. The Supreme Court set up this middle game to protect the brothers, right? As a result, I, the waiter, will be assassinated. Dian Zun said. Yes. Although I set this up and let you remain anonymous and change your identity, they are likely to find you and take assassination. At that time, Dian Zun may protect me. Yi Ming beating. No. Dian Zun was very straightforward. If you can protect you, those who pass down will not be killed. The other party has too many means to kill, and it is impossible to prevent it. What if I die? Yi Ming asked with a grin. If you are killed, I will choose a second waiter and grandson until your brother really grows up and is not afraid of other people's plots. Dian Zun said. So, you have a mission now, and your future situation will be very dangerous. Of course, letting you take this great risk, I will give you adequate compensation. Even, I do not rule out your possibility of becoming a temple in the future. Quote. Oh, isn't the brother in case of a fall, and I will not die, I will be the descendant of the palace? Yi Ming asked. Yes. Dian Zun said, your brother is practicing in a very secretive way, and he has a prominent identity. He has a great opportunity to grow up, but everything is not absolute. In case he dies halfway, and if you can hold up to that time, then you are the temple lord. Quote. Yi Ming sighed. I'm really pathetic. I said for my teacher that I will not let you take risks for nothing, and I will give you enough compensation. Dian Zun said. Yi Ming was an actual person, and immediately asked, I don't know what the master's compensation is. As a waiter and passerby, you already have huge resources. The reason why the immortal temple stands is because our roots are deep and our power is strong. Dian Zun said, you can borrow all this. Quote. Yi Ming. I'm afraid the more I borrow, the crazy the assassination of the enemy will be. It depends on your ability. Dianzun smiled. You have a very tough life for your teacher. Maybe you can reach the end and become the next waiter. Where's the waiter? Yi Ming asked. Do I want to see him? After all, he is his successor. I'm a waiter. On the surface, I'm dead, which will better protect you and your brother. Dianzun said. Yi Ming immediately understood, and said in surprise, the master has been posing as a waiter. What about the waiter? The waiter has been seated on my behalf. The dignitary was a little sad. He could have lived another 10,000 years. Yi Ming only felt chills on his back. This palace's plan was so deep that it was too unexpected. Outsiders only thought he was a waiter, but he didn't know that he was the lord, and the dead was the waiter. Outsiders thought he was the secret descendant of Yi Ming, but he did not know that the true descendant already existed and was growing rapidly. In the future, even if someone kills him, the true successor will not be affected, and he will continue his growth trajectory. Yi Ming suddenly felt very wronged, excited for a long time. In the end he was only a supporting role, and maybe a supporting role that died immediately after playing. It seemed to feel the annoyance of Yi Ming. Dianzun laughed. If you don't want it, you can withdraw. So, are you willing? Dianzun asked. Apprentice is willing, only hope that my brother can grow up as soon as possible and Xian as soon as possible, so as to lead me to the immortal temple to glory. Yi Ming, you can rest assured that your elder brother has long lived in 5 realms. He can reach the 9 realms for as long as 100 years, and even impact eternity. He is a true genius, and he is so proud of himself that he is far less than him. Dianzun said. Yi Ming couldn't help wondering. Is the brother a good quality? Extreme. Yi Ming was startled. Is it supreme? Destined to become supreme? Yes, the supreme body. All dimensions add up. Only one every 100,000 years, your brother is. Dianzun patted Yi Ming on the shoulder. You must live and witness the growth of your brother, you will be proud of it. Yi Ming nodded. Yes, the apprentice must be desperate to survive. So what should I do next? Change my identity. You don't have to change your appearance, just go back to your Tianyuan continent and find a place to repair. Dianzun said, your strength is too weak now. I think the people over there have not yet killed your interest. Why? Isn't it easier to kill me now? Yi Ming was puzzled. The previous 12 successors were killed between Changsheng 1 realm and Changsheng 3 realm. Dianzun's brow twisted. I don't understand why so far as a teacher. Yi Ming breathed a sigh of relief. Before longevity would be killed, at least for now it is not dangerous, that's all. And by the time he entered the level of Changsheng, he really didn't have to be afraid of the other party. As for the supreme body, he just heard it and didn't take it to heart. One day he became the Lord God level powerful. What is the supreme body worth? Dianzun said. If you have any requirements, you can contact the teacher. Then, he gave a message card to Yi Ming. Yi Ming took the message board and said, Master, I don't want to be anonymous, just show people the truth. Since the other party can definitely find it, why bother? Dianzun thought for a while, and nodded, it's okay. Actually, it's more confusing to the other side. But in the short term, it's better to hide it. In this case, the disciples will leave. Yi Ming said. Go. Dianzun waved his hand. Yi Ming felt that the sky was spinning, and entered a channel of teleportation. A moment later, he appeared in a worn-out teleportation array. The teleportation array is located in the depths of a mountain range in the Tianyuan continent, and no one knows it. Out of the mountains, Yi Ming found that he was located to the east of Tianyuan continent, not far from his Tiandao gate. He and nature could not return to the immortal temple immediately, and simply went to Tiandaomen to see how those disciples practiced. Tiandaomen, since Yi Ming left, the disciples have been practicing with peace of mind. You know, these people are the highest standing figures on the planet, and they don't even look at state power. But since they came to the Tianyuan continent, they only knew what there is in the sky. There are people outside. They are not even ants. They are too weak to be weak. Therefore, no one dares to be lazy, no matter from self-esteem or from the future, everyone is desperate. Fortunately, their qualifications are really good. Some time ago, Yi Ming sent Ma Shanchao to send a lot of resources, so everyone's progress is fast. In front of the mountain gate of Tiandaomen, as soon as Yi Ming appeared, a disciple jumped out and was about to yell at it, but when he saw Yi Ming, he was overjoyed, and fell down to worship, and shouted, "The head is back." Yi Ming nodded and said to the miscellaneous disciple, "Are you already a martial arts monk?" "Not bad. What about people?" The miscellaneous disciple Pingsu Shanong was able to talk to Yi Ming. At this moment, when he heard it, he was flattered and quickly said, "Back at the door, the brothers entered the country. Quickly, brother Tang Yuansheng, brother Yi Yuanwang, have all entered the martial arts. 8 elders, Yi Yuanlang, Bai Yuanxian, Pan Yuanlong, Wu Yuanji, and Su Yuanjun, have already entered the realm of Wu Zun." Yi Ming was quite proud, and said, "Have you caught up with me already?" "Very good. What about the others?" Back at the head, half of the 36 ordinary disciples have also stepped into Wu Zun, and the rest are Wu Jun. Among the 108 miscellaneous disciples, 39 people have also become Wu Jun, and the rest they are all martial arts masters and martial arts masters. Said the disciple, "The disciples have just broken through the martial arts." Yi Ming laughed. "Very good. You, the disciples of Wu Jun, will all become ordinary disciples tomorrow." The miscellaneous disciple was overjoyed, and said, "Thank you, head, I'll go and tell everyone about it." After that, I left happily. Yi Ming smiled, hee, and appeared directly in the hall of Tiandaomen. This hall is used for convening meetings in Tiandaomen. It is not open on weekdays. When he came, the door of the temple was wide open, and the bronze bell did not ring. The disciples rushed to the scene as soon as they heard the bell. There were more than 100 people seated in the temple soon. Everyone looked at Yi Ming together, their eyes were full of expectations. "See the master." Yi Ming nodded slightly and said, "No need to be polite." The crowd stood up and Yi Ming asked, "Tang Yuansheng, during this time, the teacher was not there. Is everything good in the door?" Tang Yuansheng stood up and said respectfully, "Back to master, everything is normal, all teachers and brothers are concentrating on cultivation and don't ask foreign affairs." Yi Ming nodded with satisfaction. This is what the practitioners look like. You and Yi Yuanwang are good. They are both little holy places, just like a teacher. How dare I compare to master? Yi Yuanwang scratched his head, embarrassed to be authentic. "I feel master is getting more and more horrified now, only that the 3 spirits of Fa are not opponents." This statement is not touted. Yi Ming does have such strength. For him, the 3 deities of law can reach death by reaching out his hand. The martial arts cultivation is the heaviest killing, blind cultivation is not the right way. Yi Ming said, "During this period, for the division will buy some institutions, runes for your training. Everyone is called good." Pan Yuanlong said, "Master, I wonder if we can go out to practice." Yi Ming laughed. "Why, just a few years, can't sit still." Pan Yuanlong said, "It's not that the disciples are impetuous. They just want to see it in the world, or it is good for spiritual practice." Yi Ming thought for a while, and said, "This is fine. In the future, Fan Wuzhun can go down the mountain once every 3 years for no more than 1 month. Fan Wuzhun can go down the mountain once every year for no more than 3 months. Wu Sheng, you can freely choose the time to go down the mountain without restriction." After listening, the disciples were overjoyed and applauded. Yi Ming also said, "When you go out, you must keep a low profile. We have new foundations in Tiandaomen. We have a shallow foundation and try not to provoke right and wrong." Everyone said yes. Yi Ming spent 3 days at Tiandaomen and felt very satisfied. On the 4th day, Tian Fox God Bai Yan took Yan Ruyu and Marong Shuijiao to formally enter the heavenly gate. Ant Bai is naturally the elder protector, and Marong Shuijiao and Yan Ruyu are both in the position of elder. Yi Ming had no experience in creating a martial art, so he discussed with Aunt Bai and Ma Shanchao. Aunt Bai's suggestion is to spend money to buy a large training institution, which is expensive but effective. However, Ma Shanchao's proposal is completely different. He believes that you can buy more powerful military training tools from the war civilization. Moreover, Ma Shanchao also took out a list prepared earlier, and Yi Ming was dazzled by what was on it. These tools are sold in sets and are specially used to train high-quality fighters. The craftsmanship is good and the effect is good, which is far from comparable to that of Tiangong education. Yi Ming studied for a long time, and chose 3 sets of steel battle arrays, 3 phantom battle arrays, 1 set of desperate battle arrays, and 1 set of reincarnation. Iron and steel battle formations are composed of countless iron and steel puppets. The number can be more or less, the power can be weak or weak. You can use it to train up to the martial saint and down to the samurai. However, the price of a set of steel killing arrays is as high as 20 billion long-lived coins, which is not something ordinary forces can afford. Phantom kill formations, built-in illusions, and various assassination killings, combat soldiers, and generals are more powerful than steel killing ranks, and can train disciples of Valkyrie at most. Of course, the price is also high, each set of up to 50 billion long-lived coins. Desperate to fight, can train disciples under the law in the 6 realms, the price is 150 billion yuan per set of rebirth. Reincarnation is the most expensive, up to 380 billion yuan, it can even train the disciples of the longevity class. 8 sets of battle arrays, with a total value of 740 billion yuan, are not discounted. And these will be the foundation of Tiandaomen, greatly improving the overall strength of Tiandaomen. In addition to purchasing training tools, Yi Ming also decided to purchase a set of war kills, which cost 560 billion yuan in longevity coins. There are 800 longevity war crickets in the battlefield. Once this battlefield is urged, the invading Changsheng 8 realm powerhouses, even the Changsheng 9 reality powers, will suffer. After all, Tiandaomen has no foundation. Without a large array of guardianship, once it encounters a calamity in the future, there will be a calamity. With this waiting, at least there is a retreat time to keep the incense. In addition, Yi Ming decided to take a trip to the Demon Continent and find the 9-star battleship. He always felt that the battleship should not be easily taken away. After taking back the 9-star battleship, he can arrange it at the Heavenly Gate and use it as a guard weapon. Yi Ming spent 130 trillion yuan silently. A few days later, Ma Shanchao brought the battle array and 8 training tools. Yi Ming couldn't wait to install it, and tried it one by one, and the effect made him very satisfied. Especially during the war, if anyone enters it, there will be almost no chance of life under the 9 realms of longevity. Everything was about to stop. Yi Ming called the Gate of Time and Space and said, "I'm going to a place. May I help?" Gate of Time and Space. Of course, but I need coordinates. Yi Ming shook his head. Without coordinates, I only know one entry. Can you calculate the coordinates? Have you ever entered? Try it. The door of time and space. With the flash of the Gate of Time and Space, Yi Ming appeared on the original site of the magic cave of Baoguang City. The magic cave of that year was already filled with crops. Door of Time and Space flickered a few times, and laughed. Soon, I can find some clues, me for a moment. Next moment, the door of time and space disappeared, and I didn't know where to go. Yi Ming froze, and said in his heart that this was a crop field. Who called himself? He turned around and saw a group of people flying over, landed not far away, and kept looking at him. He frowned slightly and asked, "Who are you?" "Who are we? We should just ask this." The man headed was a middle-aged man. Yi Ming smiled and said, "Who am I? Does it have anything to do with you? Is it because you planted the crop here?" "Less nonsense. The lord of the city has commanded that anyone who stays here will immediately come to arrest." The man yelled. When Yi Ming moved, was anyone still thinking about the magic cave? Who's command lord of that city? Is it the 5 elements god or Haotianism? The Comer saw him not to speak, and shouted, "Not yet arrested." Yi Ming snorted and was about to make a move. The gate of time passed by and his people disappeared. The people present were all stupid. Where did people go? He only felt that the space-time was distorted, and apparently he was jumping in space. He asked, "Find it." The door of time and space said, "If you find it, you will be there soon." As soon as the words fell, Yi Ming set foot on the ground of the demon continent, and everything was still so familiar. Yes, yes, this is the land of gods and demons. He was in a great mood, with a smile on his face. As soon as the person arrived, he issued a message sign, and then anxiously urged him. "Zhang Heng, tell me, where are you?" Yi Ming's voice trembled slightly. For a long time, there was no response. As he gave up, a slight but excited voice sounded, "Brother, are you?" "It's me." Yi Ming was overjoyed and asked quickly, "Zhang Heng, are you safe?" "Brother, the battleship and I are trapped in a strange space and cannot go out." "Zhang." Yi Ming is overjoyed, so to speak, the 9-star battleship and the money should not have fallen into the hands of Ye. He immediately said, "Wait for a moment, I will be here." The door of time and space did not wait for Yi Ming to order, and then estimated to the position of Zhang Heng through the message sign. Brush. When Guanghua flashed, Yi Ming appeared on a battleship, exactly his 9-star battleship. Not far away, Zhang Engjung was sitting on the ground with a pale face and a very bad complexion. As soon as Yi Ming appeared, he felt a breath of death and decay, constantly eroding him. No wonder Zhang Heng looks so bad. Zhang Heng's face was full of joy. "Brother, I know that you won't abandon me." Yi Ming immediately said to the door of time and space, "Come on." With a flash of Guanghua, the 9-star battleship carried everyone and appeared directly above the sky gate. Leaving the fall space, Zhang Heng's complexion immediately improved. Yi Ming quickly fed some elixir, and then asked, "What the happened, tell me." Zhang Heng was in a very good mood. Although he was very poor, he grinned and said, "Brother, I was about to come to the rescue the other day, and the passageway suddenly collapsed. I knew immediately that it was not good. I drove the warship and forcibly opened the barrier of the world as to return to Tianyuan. Who knows that there is such chaos in the big world? I have no coordinates, and somehow ran into that weird space and have been trapped until now." Yi Ming laughed. "Your boy, it's really fatal. If you don't mess around, I'm afraid you have already been caught by Ye." "Who is Yi?" Zhang Heng asked strangely. Yi Ming then explained the causes and consequences one by one. Zhang Heng hated his teeth and scolded, "How Tianzhao is too shameless. Fortunately, I entered that space. Otherwise, my brother's money and these 9-star battleships are not cheap for them." That said, he gave Yi Ming a storage ring containing more than 538 billion long-lived. Yi Ming laughed. "Thanks to your brother this time, you're in good health." The 9-star battleship and the wealth of the sky were recovered and Yi Ming was extremely happy. The Tiandao gate is now a copper wall and an iron wall. There is no fear of anyone in the Tianyuan continent. What's even better is that he has recovered 530 billion yuan, and with this money, he may be able to do one thing. In Heaven's Gate, Yi Ming's study, he asked the gate of time and space, "Have you heard of unintentional purgatory?" Su Lan was smashed into infernal purgatory by Zhang Tai, and he has been deeply self-blame and wants to save it. However, unintentional purgatory is a strange big world. He once asked Su Beijian, and the other party said that only the main god-level characters can enter there. But Yi Ming didn't give up, and asked the door of time and space here. The gate of time and space. I have heard of unintentional purgatory, but it is said that it is located in a cross dimension, and there is a **** of inferiority, which cuts off the communication with the outside world, and it is very costly to find it. What's the cost? Yi Ming quickly asked. The door of time and space. I can travel to any corner of the 3 realms, but only if there are coordinates. If there are no coordinates, I can only look for them one by one. This will consume a lot of Chengsheng coins. Although you have more than 5 trillion Changsheng coins, it may not be enough. Of course, if you are lucky, it may not take long to find it, but if you are unlucky, let alone trillions of long-lived coins, even trillions of eternal coins may not be enough. Quote. Yi Ming said indifferently, I want to try it anyway. After that, he did not hesitate to hand over 6 trillion yuan of long-lived coins, leaving only more than 330 billion in his body. The door of time and space slowly opened, and a 5 or 6-year-old boy walked out of it, with a braid on his head, tied into the shape of a heart. Wearing a red bellyband on the top, yellow and white shorts on the lower body, staring at Yi Ming with bones. Yi Ming asked in surprise, Are you the gate of time and space? You can call me a boy of time and space. The boy said, the voice is still the familiar voice. Actually, this is my body, the door of time and space that you saw before, only I transfigured. The boy in time and space hummed, and said, I have watched your good character, and this is what you are. I ask you, do you really want to give me this 6 trillion yuan? Are you afraid that I will be taken away? Yi Ming laughed. You said it yourself, money is meaningless to you, what am I afraid of? Time and space boy nodded. It's really an emotion, but it's just that you give it that way, you may not gain something. In case you can't find infernal purgatory, aren't you a big loser? You can make money without it. Yi Ming said, I made all of this money. But I can't make up for it when I lose it. Seeing Yi Ming very firm, the boy in time and space nodded. Well, if you want, I will immediately look for unintentional purgatory. This 6 trillion yuan will probably support my search for about a year. If there is no result within a year, you are dead. Quote. Okay, I'll go too. After that, the boy in time and space jumped, and the person disappeared, and he didn't find unintentional purgatory. On the same day, Zhou Hao's fragrant incense came from the Dongshan Palace. The couple, both of whom have been staying at the Dongshan Palace for the past few years, heard that Yi Ming returned, and they all came to trust. Tian Daomen happened to have a lot of things to deal with, and Yi Ming just asked these two to help. Since then, Yi Ming has no side to focus on his cultivation. In the immortal space, he has inherited the ancestral heritage. Although only part of it has been opened, it is still very important to him. This part of the inheritance that he opened can be cultivated immediately, which are 3 supernatural powers, 2 martial arts, and 1 technique. The 3 supernatural powers are sky hearing, ground vision, and air and space. Celestial auscultation is so extreme that you can hear all the sounds of the great world. Even in the early stage, the power is very strong. The sight of the earth can see all the scenes of the great world. At this site, Yi Ming naturally wanted to cultivate because they complemented each other and were extremely versatile. The last supernatural power is a bit disgraceful and dedicated to stealing. Regardless of whether the other party is a monk of Fatian or the power of longevity, this technique of air and air has unknowingly stolen the other party's things. Yi Ming originally followed several great killing gods and also learned stealing skills. Compared with this empty space technique, it is really a small witch. The 2 martial arts techniques are also extremely powerful, namely the sky-bending punch and the ground-breaking finger. Bian Tianquan can cultivate a great power of collapse, which is similar to the introduction of great power. It has the characteristics of disintegration. Once completed, it is very powerful and can destroy everything. The magical powers of the ground-splitting finger are all on the thumb. After repairing, just press it gently to the ground will crack, and the earth and rocks will shake out from the ground and stab the enemy. In the same way, practicing this martial art can cultivate the great potential of cracking ground in the body. As for the last exercise, it was called Tianji 72 Changes. After the 72 changes were completed, Yi Ming waited for 72 lives to change, and what was changed was no longer in vain and able to possess his god. This exercise method reminds Yi Ming of a novel on the earth, Journey to the West, where Sun Wukong also revised 72 changes, and also a wishful golden hoop. He also repaired the 72 changes. There is also a good wish in the hands. There are many coincidences between the two. Consolidating the Yuanying, Yi Ming's wisdom has increased by more than 10 times. In just a few days, he has become a three-gate magical power. In a few days, he has also become a sky-breaking fist and a ground-breaking finger. After half a month, he learned the 72 changes. Even he was surprised by himself. With interest, he even practiced Guiyuan Dajunli, who has not had time to cultivate, and the great potential of heaven and earth. Especially the great potential of that day and day, after cultivation, it can greatly increase the potential. The great potential of the heavens and the earth is 13. He was repaired to the 9th in one breath, and his potential has increased several times. Yi Ming retreated and practiced hardships, regardless of foreign affairs, and 2 months passed. On this day, the Tianyuan continent shook violently without warning. In a short time, I don't know how many dwellings turned into rubble and how many mountains and forests were destroyed. Even the dead and wounded were countless. He was immediately awakened and asked, "What happened?" Ma Shanchao and others also changed their faces and shook their heads. Yi Ming's eyebrows froze slightly, suddenly realized what. His face changed greatly, and shouted, "Not good, Bakung is awake from that bitch. Eater, an ancient demon god, the deity is the dragon of the head, the strength of the 8 realms and even the 9 realms, and it is very likely to impact the position of the main god. According to calculations from various parties, the evil dragon has awakened in the near future. If the earth shakes today, it is presumably that it was born." The crowd was shocked when they heard that he was born. You must know that Devourer is the body of a dragon and possesses the strength of 9 realms of longevity. Then its true strength will be far beyond that of ordinary 9 realms of longevity. It is too difficult to defeat it. As soon as I finished speaking, the earth was again a fierce pulling, a blood light, rising from the west, soon blocked the entire sky, and finally covered the entire Tianyuan continent. The ***** scent was permeated in the air, even ordinary people could smell it. What's going on? Everyone was startled. Yi Ming immediately urged the technique of ground vision, and saw millions of miles away, the ground cracked, and a blood river beneath the sea. Rising from the crack, countless blood rivers rushed out fiercely and flung to all visible Tianyuan creatures, swallow them quickly. Damn! That blood river! Yi Ming was pale and his face was white. He had gone in that blood river. What he saw at the beginning was only the tip of the iceberg. Ji Rushui told him that there was a vast blood river deep in the ground. It seems that the blood river was lifted to the ground without knowing what power it was, and countless blood river creatures will invade the world, and the people will suffer again. Everyone heard the origins of the blood river, and they all expressed sorrow. Yan Ruyu said, "Ming brother, the 5 elements gods and the 4 gods will surely shoot." Yi Ming sneered. "Shoot? I don't think so." Boom! A beam of blood condensed into a column of light that penetrated the sky, piercing the sky fiercely, and seemed to pierce the sky, forming a scarlet lotus platform at infinity. Above the lotus terrace, I do not know when a human figure appeared. He was wearing a blood-colored robe, with long beards and eyebrows, and he could not see his age. Seeing this monster appear, whether he is the 4 gods or the 5 elements, his face has changed, exclaiming, "Ancient blood demon, why is he alive?" Obviously, this ancient blood demon exists at the same level as Yan Yan, which is extremely scary. Its appearance instantly made the long-lived powers feel despair. Expensive. A dragon grown, a gray-black, thousands of miles long dragon, slowly rose into the air. In its eyes, hundreds of miles of red flames were sprayed out, the dragon's tail was swinging, the sky was falling apart, and countless creatures were flying out of smoke. Under its coercion, all the deities of Tianyuan, even the power of immortality, shivered, forming absolute pressure. "Oh, bitch, we're meeting again." The blood demon on the scarlet lotus smiled and greeted. Yan Yan glanced at him and said, "Blood demon, this is my place, you better get away." Goblin snorted, and said, "Shit. When Lao Tzu was around the world, you were still a." A bite growled and said, "Don't toast or eat or drink. By these blood foods, this seat deliberately impacts eternity. You don't do me good. The goblin, ha ha, laughed. Bite you, you are really delusional. Is that eternity so easy to break through? Just giving you another million years, you have no chance. So despised by the blood demon, biting anger and roared, Blood demon, you do not dare to eat you. The blood demon snorted heavily. Bite you, whoever eats you, I do my business, we are irrelevant. If you want to eat alone, don't blame yourself for the old feelings, and I behead you today. The two demon heads were on the bar, which made Tianyuan's powerful people feel in a complicated mood. I wonder if they should be happy or sad. The Na seems to know that the blood is not easy to mess with, hesitated for a moment, and hate. Well, as long as you don't hurt me, I'm too lazy to care about you. Having said that, Devour twisted his huge body and rushed towards a densely populated city. From a distance, it sucked strongly in the air, and a vortex was formed. The huge suction locked everyone in the city, regardless of gender, babies, children, and children. They were thrown into the vortex, and then twisted into flesh and blood, and finally fell into the mouth of Swallow. My God! Why? What did we do wrong and why did we suffer this disaster? An old man, the ground, guarding a child, his eyes were filled with despair and anger. Five Elements Emperor. God, where are you? Come and save us, crying for help. However, no one responded, the Five Elements Emperor did not respond, and the heavenly gods did not respond. People were still being taken into the air, mourning in despair, and then being twisted into blood mud and swallowed by the vortex. Soon, Devourer swallowed up a city, swallowed up hundreds of millions of people, and continued to pounce on the second city. On the other side, the blood demon was not idle. He stretched out a finger, and the huge blood river flew into the air, traversing the Tianyuan continent, and then continuously branched off into every land. Then, like a spider's web, it covered every city and every village. Then, a large number of blood river creatures burst out of the blood river, killing humans fiercely. A woman is running desperately with her baby, but where can she escape? The blood river is in front and the blood river is in the back. In the end, she smiled horribly, killed the baby in her arms with a dagger, and then killed herself. Yi Ming exhibited the technique of local vision, observing the calamity of the soul, suffering from all kinds of hearts, and angrily said, "The Five Elements Emperor, as the Emperor of the mainland, where are you?" His voice, of course, could not be heard in the ears of the Five Elements Emperor, but by coincidence, the Five Elements Emperor actually appeared. Even at this time, the great Emperor of the Five Elements did not forget to bring his magnificence with him. There were thousands of soldiers in front and back, countless masters on the left and right. Devourer has swallowed up 3 cities, nearly 500 million people, and was eating so fast that when someone approached, he roared, and he wanted to kill. At this moment, a phantom appeared, releasing a domineering breath. This is exactly what the Five Elements Emperor refined. He has the strength of Changsheng 9 realms. Yan Yan snorted and said scornfully, I did not expect that a small heavenly yuan could produce a power of 9 realms. However, your cultivation should be borrowed and not owned by you. The Five Elements Emperor said, Eyes, the people on this day's continent are my subjects, you can't eat them all. Devouring a huge head slightly crooked, staring at the Five Elements Emperor, do you dare to ask me about this seat? The Five Elements Emperor bowed his hands in a respectful manner and said very respectfully, Honest bitch, if you eat up the people of the Tianyuan continent and wait for you to wake up again, will you not have rations? In the next opinion, you might as well eat half, stay take a living and recuperate in preparation for the next need. Quote. Yan Yan thought for a while, and said, What kind of truth you said, I can think about it. The Five Elements Emperor breathed a sigh of relief. Although he was also a long-life 9th realm, he was really unbeatable. After all, the opponent is the body of a dragon, and they are all in the same state. However, the gap in strength is large. After talking with Devourer here, the Five Elements Emperor came to the Blood Demon again, and he deeply saluted, I have seen the Blood Ancestor. The goblin grinned, and said, "Do you, a doll, think I'm as good as a deceiver? You have to say more. My children and grandchildren need to eat and drink, and you say it's useless to break the sky." The Five Elements Emperor sweated coldly on his forehead and said, "Old man, you have killed everyone here. After you have eaten it, you are afraid that there will be no food. In case it is angry with you, it will not be good to come and fight desperately with you." Quote. The goblin laughed. "I eat mine, he eats him, they are irrelevant. If he doesn't know each other, I will teach him." The Five Elements Emperor could not move at all, only gritted his teeth, and said, "Tianyuan is the foundation of the Five Elements God dynasty. Your insistence is so, and you can only fight against it. Confrontation. It's up to you, can't you find death?" Bloody Devil laughed, and immediately killed the Five Elements Emperor. At this moment, a piece of God's light descended from the sky, and Sheng Xian shone away the sky's blood. Out of that light, a young man came out of Hao Tian to teach the eighth of heaven. Yi Ming once glanced at Tian Tian from afar, and at that time he could not judge this person's cultivation. However, if you look at it at this time, you know that the other party's cultivation is unfathomable, even in the presence of the blood demon. Huh. The blood devil stared at Yi Ming. "Boy, who are you?" Tiana said lightly. "I am the god of Hao Tian." When Yi Ming's heart moved, could it be that after the fall of Haoshan God, this Tianhe took over as god? The goblin, laughed. "What is god? I haven't heard of it. There is nothing about you here, get away with it." Tian Yan sneered. "Blood demon, there is a branch of Haoshan education in Tianyuan continent. Do you do this to deceive Haoshan education?" In other words, a number of divine lights fell in the air, manifesting the power of the 9 eternal life. Of the 9 people, 3 were in the 9 realms, and the rest were in the 8 realms, and they were faintly centered on the heavens, forming a battlefield, and locked the Gorefiend remotely. The blood demon had no fear, and laughed strangely, saying, "Little man, are you looking for death? Thought that more people can be arrogant in front of the deity?" Tianzun said, "The Lord is angry. As long as you don't target the person who teaches me to Haoshan, you can kill the rest, Haoshan can't ask." After hearing these words, the blood devil looked a little hesitant, and said, "It's okay to kill a few less. You can let the Haoshan believers put on red clothes and write, Haoshan, on the chest so that I won't kill them." Quote. Tiana bowed his hand in worship. "Thank you. The words of nature are falling, and dozens of light rays are falling, from which there are more than a dozen long-lived powers, all of whom are the 4 gods. The first person was the master of the original god of the sea, and he said deeply, 'Blood ancestor, please be merciful to your men, don't kill too much.' The blood demon immediately became impatient, and so many people were noisy one after another. He was very upset. He waved his sleeves and said, 'Dead.' Boom. Light shattered the void, a sacred land power quickly evaded, half of the people were injured, and each one looked ugly, hiding far away from 1,000 miles, never dare to approach, nor dare to approach talked. Giggle. A group of humanoid fish-faced, fang-toothed dwellings made ridiculous smiles, rushed to the bleeding river, and slaughtered a village. The process of killing them was very brutal. With a big mouth, they swallowed the whole person, twisted their teeth, and flew flesh and blood. Especially some children, eating one by one, eat very smoothly. Seeing that the people in this village were going to be beheaded as much as possible, a sword light was cut off like a flying rainbow. Oh, there were dozens of heads falling instantly, and all were killed. After Jian Guang's meal, a youth with a grim expression appeared. It was Yi Ming. The people in the village were more than half dead. Seeing the savior descending from heaven, they turned from sorrow to joy, and came to see one after another. Yi Ming yelled, "All go home, don't go out." People have said that they hurried back to their homes, closed their doors and dared not come out. After killing this group of people, Yi Ming narrowed his eyes and stared at a blood river not far away. More and more monsters were rushing out of it, killing more innocent people. Under the sky, there are countless powers, and it is really sad to have no courage to block this group of monsters. He sighed in the sky, then jumped forward and jumped into the high-altitude battleship Junwu. On the battleship, Ma Shanchao, Aunt Bai, Yan Ruyu, and the disciples of Tian Daomen were all there. Everyone looked at the tragic picture below, and everyone was indignant. Yi Mingchen said, "Dear everyone, when I bought this ship, I vowed to kill Devourer in the future. Today the Blood Demon is out. Do you dare to fight this evil dragon and Blood Demon with me?" "Dare," everyone yelled. "Ming. Okay. Today, let's show those cowardly, what is a hero, what is the responsibility." 9-star battleship quickly headed towards Yan. At this moment, Devourer has swallowed tens of billions of people, and has a growing appetite, and is persecution towards a city with hundreds of millions of people. In the Tianyuan continent, almost everyone saw this scene. An evil dragon, thousands of miles long, flew coldly towards a big city. The people in the city were desperate. People were crying and begging, but they should not be made every day, and the earth would not work. The 5 Elements Emperor cannot protect them, and the Haoshanism cannot protect them. The 4 gods are also afraid to come forward. People are as dead as hearts. Many people are cursing the emperor, cursing the earth, and cursing the Haoshanism. Propagation is detectable by all powers. After this incident, the prestige of our divine land will be greatly reduced. The origin of the Sea of God side, helplessly authentic. The 5 Elements Emperor was also ugly. He practiced Shintoism and originally absorbed a lot of faith. But at the moment, not only is the power of faith disappearing quickly, but a large amount of cursing power is being blessed on him, making him very uncomfortable. Swallowing contentedly, Devourer roared and flew to the sky above the city, and was about to make a big splash, and suddenly a thick starlight like a mountain range, the stars scattered on it. A moment of gnawing, a violent pain came out, and it wailed. "Damn, who shot at this seat? This seat swallows you." Devouring screams in a row, his eyes shot into the distance. At this moment, I don't know how many people are watching. I saw a huge warship slowly approaching, with a banner on the bow and the words, Tiandaomen, written on it. A huge artillery was shooting out a star to kill it, hitting the cricket twice. 9-star battleship. In Changsheng's power, I didn't know who called it, his face changed slightly. What is the way of Daomen this day? Why have you never heard of it? Look, it's a battleship, it's a battleship. Heaven's Gate has come to save us. The people in the big city were crying and crying, worshipping the battleship. Bite crickets, Tianyuan continent will not tolerate you to die wild and die. Yi Ming's voice was rolling like a thunder, spreading out, and straightly scolded the crickets. His voice was spread out by the magical power of the kangaroo, and people in the entire Tianyuan continent could hear it. I have eaten it, and it has been standing for countless years. From the far down to the present, I did not expect to be drowned by a human being. You know, even the emperor of the 5 elements, even the god of heaven, would not dare to be so rude to him. Who is this kid? Have you eaten your heart? Boom. The 4 stars died, and at the same time they hit the cricket. At this time, it really hurt. The scales on the body were blasted away, and the flesh was blurred. Nebula cannons can kill Changsheng 9 realms, naturally enough to hurt it, damn. Devouring anger, she shook off her huge body and rushed towards Junwu. However, the 4 nebula cannons were so powerful that they couldn't get closer. As soon as they approached, they were forced to open again. The body was blown open again with pain. Expensive. Devouring madness, he spit out a killing light, and crashed into the 9-star battleship. Outside of the Juxing battleship, a heavy white light was raised, and the killing light of the enemies hit it silently, and soon disappeared. 20 doomed artillery and 100,000 high-level battleships combined to attack, actually blocking the opponent's blow. However, the battleship was also shaking violently and was slightly damaged. Retreat! Yi Ming exclaimed, and the warship quickly retreated. Damn man, I want to crush you. It growled. The Juxing warship quickly sailed back to Tiandaomen, broke through the space, and arrived in no time, hiding in the Shoshan formation. And that Na killer also came here. It is fierce, and wherever it is, it will rush into it directly, to tear up the Juxing battleship and Yiming. As soon as this evil dragon entered, Yiminghua's warfare under the sky was launched, opening up a space for war, and trapping enemies in it. At the same time, Yi Ming's voice was rolling like thunder, spreading to every corner of Tianyuan continent. I am the head of Tiandaomen. I would like to take advantage of the 9-star battleship and the battle array to meet this evil dragon. Tianyuan continent, if there are 3 or more gods in law, please come and help. After Yi Ming's words spread, whether it was a martial art or a big religion, or a sacred land, or even a meditation, his heart shook. They are not bitter and bitter, but they are too strong, they cannot fight, and of course they do not have the determination to fight. However, when Yi Ming said that he had a 9-star battleship and a large battle, everyone was moved. If you don't hold back evil dragons, Tianyuan mainland will only be afraid of great vitality and even be completely destroyed. This Tianyuan mainland is our home. I can't just sit back and watch. Although the evil dragon promised the 5 elements emperor, but this is not human, and he can turn his face at any time. How can we save ourselves if we want to eat everyone? Our 4 gods have lost all their faces today, and we can take this opportunity to save some faces so that we can gain a foothold in the future. Everyone has their own ideas, but most of them are willing to come to help. So in a hurry, in all directions, countless celestial gods and spirits flew towards the heavenly gate. Tiandaomen also opened its doors, and the visitors never refused. All the gods of the heavens and gods all enter the 9-star battleship in order to exert all their powers. All the power of longevity enters the presidency of the war, because this array can theoretically accommodate 100,000 long life habitats to perform together. Although there are not hundreds of thousands of longevity at the moment, there are dozens of them. When the crowds were brainstorming and determined to deal with the evil dragon bite, the 5 elements emperor's mood was the most complicated. It stands to reason that he should help Tiandaomen to kill evil dragons. But as the 5 elements emperor, he has already agreed with Devourer. How should he end if he can't kill the other party? Besides, he should be the leader of this assassination. Then I don't know where the heavenly gate that came out was a fart. Therefore, the 5 elements emperor did not move in the end, and his subordinates were naturally unable to participate, so they could only watch. Another complicated mood is the blood demon. At first he didn't look at the 9-star warship, but when he saw that Devourer was suffering, and now he was trapped in a large array, he immediately felt that the situation was not good. Obviously, after killing Devourer, the next thing to deal with is probably his blood demon. Humble humans, you can't even think about it, Devourer, I'll come and help you. By the way, he will urge the blood to go and attack the heavenly gate. However, at this moment, a dark mouth cracked in the sky, and each of the 9-star battleships slowly sailed out. Each battleship had dense gun muzzles, all aimed at the Gorefiend. What? 9 9-star battleships, who is so big? Someone exclaimed. The people of the Immortal Temple were also shocked. Su Beijian suddenly looked at Jin Xuanbai behind him and asked, Zanbai, did you use your deity? When Su Beijian asked, Zhao Xin and other people suddenly remembered that the elder brother Jin Xuanbai was the emperor of the 3 emperors world and had a respected status and was fully qualified to mobilize the army of the 3 emperors to come. Jin Xuanbai's eyes in the Immortal Temple are just his part. The deity, as the 3 emperors, is a high-weight emperor. However, Jin Xuanbai shook his head and said, it's not what I mean, he's coming. It turned out that the emperor practiced a wonderful skill called Yiki Sanqing, and he could create 3 major points in one thought. He was completely independent of the deity and developed on his own. In the future, if the deity encounters an accident, they can replace it and transform it into a deity. Therefore, Jin Xuanbai has no idea what to do, and has no right to interfere. In other words, he is him, the emperor is the emperor, and the 2 are subordinate. Since it's not you, isn't the emperor the emperor? Su Beijian said in surprise. Jin Xuanbai. It is the Emperor. At this time, on a battleship, a general rushed out, with imposing momentum and fierce force, and the aura was actually not under the blood monster. He pointed at the blood demon and drank. The devil head, Wu Su, the admiral of the royal throne, will not die soon. The blood demon was startled, screamed, and said, Earth Emperor. What excitement did your 3 emperors come to make fun of? Gorefiend, give you 3 breaths, leave here quickly, if you don't leave, there is no amnesty to kill. A majestic voice sounded, shaking Zhu Shao. Even the Gorefiend was unstable and unable to hold himself. Dear Emperor, are you bullying me? Kill. Boom. The blood river on the ground suddenly shrank into a ball of light, enveloping the blood demon, and crashed into the 9-star battleship like lightning. Just as the battleship was preparing to defend, the blood light actually turned in the direction and instantly broke through the void and escaped without a trace. Huh, you know the acquaintance. The General Su Yuanba hummed heavily, and then re-entered the battleship again. However, it is said that on the Tiandaomen side, tens of thousands of Fatians and gods entered the 9-star battleship, and more than 60 Chengshengs entered the battlefield. In the space of war, Devourer was constantly bombarded by silenced cannons and nebula cannons. In conjunction with the war kills, it had been bombarded with flesh, and some bones were exposed. Damn! It kept snarling and crashing hard, but it couldn't break the war anyway. However, it is difficult for everyone to kill the bite. If it died so easily, it would have been chopped up by the strong, and it would not be dragged to this day. The sound of gunfire was rumbling. Yi Ming's 333 billion long-lived coins had already consumed most of them, leaving only less than 70 billion. Once the longevity coin is lost, the Juxing battleship cannot attack, and the war front must stop. He immediately became anxious and thought quickly. Just then, in the animal skin bag, the God-Eater cat, who had been sleeping for a long time, yawned and poked his head lazily. Since the last time he was injured by Xingtian's arm, it has been asleep, and Fang is still awake. When the God-Eater cat saw the devourer, his eyes were widened, he licked his lips, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Yi Ming was right, it really looked like a smile. At the next moment, the paw of the devouring cat waved gently, and Yi Ming felt that the undead tree in the sea suddenly moved again. It turned into a white light, fell into the paw of the devouring cat, and turned into a seed. Shalwa, what are you doing? Yi Ming cried. Where did the devouring cat take care of him? Meow, made a sound, turned into a bolt of lightning, rushed out of the battleship, and rushed towards the devourer. Shalwa is only the size of a domestic cat, and a small step. Yan Yan never noticed him. How could an elephant notice the ants on the ground? As a result, Shalwa easily approached the puppet and landed on its back. At its location, a large scale has just been bombarded by the nebula, revealing the Sensen bones, the green tendons and the black-blue dragon meat. As soon as Shalwa's paw was pressed, the seed of the immortal tree was pushed in. In a short time, a small sapling grew, and the roots spread quickly, taking roots along the bloodstream of the gnawing muscles. When the bite screamed, he screamed in pain, and his huge body twisted and struggled. At this time, Shalwa had already jumped away and floated in the air, looking coldly at the cricket. The small saplings, madly devouring the spirit of envy, grew up quickly, and quickly became towering trees, becoming extremely heavy. So it didn't take long for Devourer to bear it, being suppressed by the immortal tree to the ground. Slowly, its scales lost their luster, eyes began to dry out, and the dragon's whiskers became soft, just like the withered grass. Everyone looked at this scene in astonishment, hardly to believe their eyes. What is that tree? How did you suppress the gnaw? But it seems that Yan Yan will not be killed. Will it come back? Reversal. Absolutely impossible. You see, no. Once the energizing force is swallowed by this will be permanently suppressed here. Yi Ming is overjoyed. He knows the origin of the immortal tree. The Vajra rat said, Master, the practice method of devouring demons should be spiritual, so the immortal tree can devour it and suppress it in one fell swoop. The cat that didn't know how to eat God didn't beat him at all, rushed out twice, landed on the dried up bitch, stepped on its head, and looked down at it. Yan Yan can't make a sound, but everyone can feel the fear that it reveals. Day. Eater is actually scared. What is he afraid of? The devouring cat slowly waved its claws, gently falling, a white light was cut off, and the biting head was split into two. In the huge brain cavity, there is a turquoise bead, the size of a watermelon, releasing infinite power. As soon as the brain cavity was opened, the bead was about to fly away, but it was jumped up by the devouring cat, and the mouth was as big as a washbasin, and it was swallowed. Goo! Everyone heard the sound of swallowing, and widened their eyes in surprise. Is Yan Yan so dead? Have been swallowed by Yao Dan. Among the demon dandelions, there is a ***** babies hiding each other. After eating the Na cat was not considered a major event, and slowly returned to Yiming's side, jumping into the pelt's skin pocket. Seeing this scene, everyone's scalp was numb and decided not to approach Yiming in the future. This cat is too dangerous. Devourer died, and people stepped out of the battlefield and out of the battleship, and they cheered around Devourer's body. I've seen the head of the heavenly road. Suddenly, a long-lived, six-state man, I don't know which force, deeply paid his respects to Yiming. Next, everyone gave salute to Yiming. Anyway, if it weren't for Yiming today, it would definitely be impossible to kill Yan. Tianyuan mainland might be finished, so everyone is grateful. Ming said lightly. As a member of Tianyuan, everything I do is justified. Everyone, don't away. This was an order for chasing customers, but everyone didn't think Yiming was weird. Instead, they thought that this was the style of a superior man, so they arched their hands and left Tiandaomen. When everyone left Tiandaomen, the mountain gate of Tiandaomen immediately banged and closed. The warriors participating in this campaign glanced deeply at Tiandaomen with complex expressions and left. Inside Tiandaomen, Ma Shanchao asked a little puzzlingly, Sir, this is an opportunity to make Tiandaomen famous, and to make friends with the world. Why should you let it go? Yiming said lightly. The experience of that year made me understand one thing. No matter how much credit or fame you have, if you don't have the corresponding strength to build the foundation, you will definitely fall miserably, and you may even die. It's not for the benefit, I just want to save the world from being in danger. Now that the goal has been achieved, why should there be any other requirements? You should understand the unreasonable truth. Quote. Ma Shanchao nodded. It's still the protagonist's far-sightedness. It's because Shanchao is too impatient. In fact, everyone's heart was still in a state of shock at this moment. Lu Piaopiao stared at Yiming. She had to admit that the man in front of him was becoming more and more extraordinary, and she actually had the ability to save the world. Only this, his merit is immeasurable. The blood demon ran away, not and killed, and the crisis in Tianyuan's continent was lifted. The emperor's battleships slowly withdrew from the sight of the crowd. They came suddenly and walked suddenly, without contact with any forces. Next, envoys from the 9 holy lands, the 4 great divine lands, and even the 5 elemental gods visited Tiandao Gate one after another, but all were blocked out of the door. But the more Yiming did, the more the people felt that Tiandaomen was unfathomable, and there must be peerless masters in it, but where do they know? The head of Tiandaomen plus his disciples, the strongest is Wu Sheng. There are a few strong elders, but they are far from being comparable to Divine Land. Because of its shallow foundation, Yiming is very low-key and does not contact any forces. But he did not mean that Tiandaomen had no influence. The entire Tianyuan continent, from officials and aristocrats to people of Li Min, regardless of sex, men and women, everyone is talking about the Tiandaomen. After all, it was Tiandaomen that saved everyone and saved innocent people from calamity. In a remote town, the rest of the lives of the people decided to take a few days off and enjoy life, which led to many restaurants and tea houses being full. As soon as there are more people, there will naturally be people talking and chatting, and the most talked about is still the disaster and the way to eliminate the disaster. Did you all see that evil dragon that day? It's so big, thousands of miles. It sucks, and hundreds of millions of people are eaten. Alas. That **** thing is really a sin, thanks to Tiandaomen save us. Quote. That's it, you heard the words of the Five Elements Emperor, and he promised the evil dragon to let him eat half of them. That's half the people, and it would cost tens of trillions to say less. He is our emperor. Actually abandoned us. I remember that the dragon was only a few thousand miles away from us, maybe we will eat it next time. Quote. The forces that usually dominate us on weekdays really disappoint us. What *****Earth? What ***** dynasty, I am. A group of timid, selfish and cold-blooded things. If not for Tiandaomen to stand up, would they dare to shoot? If there is a battleship in Tiandaomen, can they slay the evil dragon? Presumably the battleship that later scared the blood demon is also the helper invited by Tiandaomen. Quote. That must be, you see, they are all warships, naturally they are a group. Where did the little people know too much, naively thought that all the warships were out of Yiming. Hey, you said, why haven't we heard of Tiandaomen before? Where is Tiandaomen? My second junior is very qualified, and I hope he can enter Tiandaomen to practice. Yi Rendao. As soon as this word came out, the others laughed at him. Are you crazy? Who can enter Tiandaomen casually? Let's die that heart. Although I can't join Tiandaomen in this life, we must never forget the virtues of Tiandaomen. I have built a tablet in the backyard. After getting up every morning, I have to cleanse my hands and worship prayerfully. Yeah, I do the same. How many gods have we worshipped? But when we need it, the earth is not supposed to be, and the earth is not so good. It was really sad and desperate at that time. This heavenly gate, we must never forget it. Quote. On the fourth day of the dragon-slaying battle, Yiming suddenly felt that Tiandaomen was a bit wrong and faint. He felt immeasurable blessings near Tiandaomen, but was unable to attach. The gratitude thoughts of others turned into Yiming's burden, which made him distracted and unable to concentrate on cultivation, as did the disciples of the rest. The donkey mouse said, Master, you must accept these beliefs, or you will get into trouble. Yiming was also very annoyed and said, I'm not a god, how can I absorb it? King Kong Rat. The master can find ***** and let it carry these beliefs instead of the heavenly gates. People in the entire Tianyuan continent will never forget that this **** must have a very strong strength and a very high level. Yiming has a headache now. Who is he looking for? Aunt Bai can't do it and many more. He reached out and scooped out Shalwa, and smiled, small flower, help me, I want you to be the ***** of the heavenly gate. Can you do that? Xiaohua rolled her eyes and turned her head, apparently not interested in it. The Vajra rat secretly gave Yiming an idea. Master, why not ask the cat to bear the **** of the day's continent? Sacrifice God. He knew it, but he heard it for the first time. The donkey mouse said, I have traveled to some big worlds. In some places, in order to collect the power of faith and cultivation resources, the gods have integrated an area into his protection and become the patron saint of one creature. Such gods are called sacrifices. Quote. Yiming. Shalwa is willing to be **** here. There are so many benefits to sacrifice to God, it has no reason to disagree, said the donkey mouse. If I hadn't cultivated in a low profile, I would really like to be **** of heaven. Yiming's heart moved, and he found a handful of fruits and handed them flowers, and said, give you a consultation. You should be **** of the heavenly continent, instead of absorbing the power of faith in Tiandaomen. I will give you barbecue every day. Open the fruit, give as much as you want. Quote. Shalwa seemed to have no interest in offering sacrifices to gods, but listened to the barbecue and fruit, and opened her eyes immediately. It didn't respond, and flew directly to the immortal tree. With a wave of its claws, the infinite spiritual beliefs gathered by the Tianyuan people were gathered by it and poured onto the immortal tree. What? It wants to make the immortal tree a sacrifice god. Yi Ming was startled and almost jumped up. The power of faith found the entrance, and all the rivers suddenly entered the sea, throwing them into it gradually. This huge immortal knot began to change. Tianyuan people are grateful to Tiandaomen because they saved them, and they are extremely dependent on Tiandaomen. Naturally, I hope Tiandaomen will continue to protect them and be their patron saints in the future. Everyone has similar thoughts. One by one, the ideas are so neat, pure, and powerful that they have affected the immortal tree. The big tree began to grow rapidly. The remaining energy of the suppressed phagocyte under the tree was drained away by it, and the dragon's corpse turned into dust and disappeared completely. 100 meters, kilometers, 10,000 meters, 100,000 meters. In the incredible eyes of everyone, the immortal tree continued to grow, reaching a height of 100,000 meters, covering the entire circle and covering the entire Tiandao Gate. Its roots hang down, forming something like an enchantment, enveloping the heavenly gate. The disciples of Tiandaomen all have a strange feeling. It seems that this tree has become very kind. It is like a brick and a tile of Tiandaomen. They are all part of it and they are a whole. Look, the tree bears fruit. Everyone screamed, everyone looked up, and it turned out that countless fruits slowly appeared on the immortal tree. These fruits are very large. With the constant focus of the power of faith, the fruit is becoming more and more mature, turning early green to white and from white to gold. In the end, some of the nutshells cracked and shot a golden light inside. That golden light burst out for miles and turned into a Jinjia man. This Jinjia man, holding a long bow, was 3 meters away, with strong muscles and a handsome appearance. 1, 2, 100, 200. The power of faith is increasing, and the number of golden arrows born is increasing. Seeing this scene, Yi Ming was shocked and speechless. The Vajra rat said, "Master, it seems that the immortal tree is a natural spirit sacrificing god. It is responsive, people want it to protect Tianyuan, and it uses the power of faith to create so many arrows." Yi Ming rose into the air, came to a gold-armored arrow, and asked, "Do you understand me?" The arrowman bowed to the ground. "Disciple, see the head." Yi Ming was startled. "Do you speak? Call me the head." Arrow said, "Yes, we came into being. Our duty is to protect the heavenly gate and protect the Tianyuan continent from the invasion of foreign demons." Yi Ming squeezed his arm and felt extremely powerful, so he asked, "I don't know how strong you are. I'll see if you shoot an arrow." Arrowman asked, "What did the head let me?" Yi Ming thought for a while, pointing to a distant peak, a towering peak. That peak was the first peak in the Tianyuan continent. It was about 1,000 miles high and was called Tianyuan Peak. It was thousands of miles away from Tiandaomen. "You shoot an arrow at Tian Yuanfang, I see if I can reach it," he said. The archer immediately bowed his arrow and then released his fingers. True, a golden light is very tiny, only as thick as a finger, but the further it grows, the longer it grows, turning into a golden light, like a light dragon, roaring and rushing towards Tianyuan Peak, thousands of miles away. Yi Ming saw that there were countless runes of civilization in the golden light, and the prohibition flickered. His expression changed, and he shouted, "Broken!" Boom! Jin Guang hit Tian Yuanfang with a loud noise, and the huge mountain peak was cut off and blasted into dust. Such a big movement shocked the entire Tianyuan continent. People were surprised to see where the incident happened. They didn't know what happened. The armored archer closed his bow and asked, "Do you want to shoot?" "No need," Yi Ming quickly said, could not help but said, "You arrow, less of it is also FATN's lethality." The arrowman said, "Back at the gate, according to the warrior realm theory of the Tianyuan continent, our individual combat power is probably restored by Fadian Ba." Yi Ming nodded and asked, "As the immortal tree, only to make arrows, not?" Then, pointing at a fruit in the distance, "There is not an arrowman, but an artillery." Yi Ming almost called out, "What? Artillery? What artillery?" The head will know later. The archer knew how to sell. Yi Ming waited for a while, the fruit was ripe, and a silver light burst out. Silverlight landed and turned into a silver-armored warrior. The silver-armored soldier was empty-handed, he looked left and right, and finally ran into the 9-star battleship to study the dooming cannon and nebula cannon above. Yi Mingqi said, "What will he do?" The arrowman said, "He needs a cannon." Yi Ming was speechless for a while. He didn't have a gun, so what artillery is that? There will be soon. Arrows said. The words did not fall. The arrow had thoroughly studied the nebula cannon and the doom cannon, and he shouted at the immortal tree. A branch on the tree of God shook a bit, and another black fruit was born, which instantly matured and cracked, and a cannon fell from it. This cannon, mounted on a four-wheeler, was able to fly on its own, looking at the simple atmosphere and murderous. The artillery stood immediately on the artillery vehicle, as if united with the artillery. How powerful is this artillery? Yi Ming became interested and asked in front of the artillery. Times stronger. That power is almost the lethality of Chengsheng Yijing. Yi Ming nodded. Next, for more than a month, the immortal tree continued to create warriors, not only arrows, artillery, but also chairs, chariots, and swordsmen. There are many arms in each category. There are 500,000 archers, 500,000 swordsmen, 100,000 artillery, 10,000 chariots, and 30,000 knights. It is worth mentioning that the knights made by the immortal tree have the fighting power of the 3 realms of longevity and are a strong force. After each soldier was born, the word, Tiandao, was written on their foreheads, which was the mark of the Tiandaomen. Moreover, if others ask them about their origins, they will certainly claim to be disciples of heaven. It can be seen that under the influence of the power of faith, the immortal tree has become a part of Tiandaomen, which is Tiandaomen, and Tiandaomen is it. The northern part of the Five Elements dynasty was originally a snow and ice wasteland. In recent years, a large number of people in the south have migrated here to engage in hunting, mining and other industries, which have gradually formed some villages, towns, and cities in this wild land. Not far from the wilderness, there is a lake called Babing Lake. Babing Lake is 3,000 miles long and freezes all year round. The residents nearby live on fishing. The lake is rich in sea bass, saury, and bighead fish, which are delicious and sold all over the world. However, recently, a monster suddenly appeared in the ice lake. The monster, covered in blood, has a humanoid fish head, holding a knife and fork in his hands, often breaking the ice to hurt people. Within a few days, hundreds of people had already died under the monster. The local people reported to the government several times, but the people in the government only wanted to collect money. Who worked for the people? Repeated delays, only to say that if the people had enough money to raise money, the government would naturally send out slaying monsters. Because the government's asking price was too high, the people had no choice but to resort to a nearby small gate, Yuan Bingman. But Yuan Bingman was even more black-hearted than the government. After learning that the demon possessed the strength of martial arts level, he directly rejected people's requests. And said that unless they can give out 100,000 long-lived coins, they don't want them to sell. As a result, tens of thousands of fishermen did not dare to go fishing on Babing Lake, sighed at home, and gathered in the tavern in twos and twos to borrow alcohol to relieve their sorrow. It seems that we still have to raise money so that we can use the government to send troops. Someone said, "How can we have so much money? Let's fight for a lifetime, I'm afraid we can't raise enough." The other hated, "The government obviously didn't want to help us, they were afraid of that monster. Well, it would be nice if Tiandaomen came to help us." Suddenly, a voice said, "You stupid. What a big thing, do you want Tiandaomen to go out? Do you think a born?" Someone laughed at him. Joking and joking, but everyone's heart, I really hope Tiandaomen to help them. So, the slightest thoughts, reflected on the immortal tree. Brush. 100 arrow men rose to the sky and flew towards Babing Lake. At that time, there was a dead silence on the Babing Lake, and the fishermen just looked away from the shore, and some boldly fished on the fringe. "Look, what's that?" Someone called. Everyone looked up and saw 100 people flying over Babing Lake. These men, wearing gold armor and carrying long bows, were brave, handsome, and imposing. One of the archers pulled his bow and hit an arrow against the ice. Boom! The lake shook, blasting a big mouth, and a roar came out, blood shining through the mouth and flying into the sky. It was a humanoid blood monster, which should be the scourge left by the blood demon. The blood monster yelled and rushed to the arrow. 5 archers took bows and fired arrows. Really, 5 arrows of light, combined into one, hit the blood monster. The blood monster was too late to scream and was blasted into scum. The monster is dead. The fishermen cheered loudly, kneeling down to worship the armored arrows. Look, they all have the word, Tiandao, on their foreheads. They must be disciples of Tiandaomen, said those with good eyesight. Some dare to ask loudly, dare to ask, my lord, are you from the Tao of heaven? Archer bowed in courtesy and said, we are disciples in Tiandaomen. After all, and the sky and returned to Tiandaomen. Similar things happen every day. There are monsters in some places, floods occur in some places, some forces are destroyed by others, and there is no need to respond to the disaster, the immortal tree, and the needs of the Tianyuan people. Also more religious, there is a tendency to surpass the 5 elements. However, everyone knows Tiandao Gate, but few people know that the head of Tiandao is Yi Ming. Even if he cooperated to slay the dragon that day, Yi Ming didn't show people the true face. Therefore, the world didn't know Yi Ming himself, but only the heavenly gate. In this way, Tiandaomen is famous, but it does not affect Yi Ming's actions. On this day, Jin Xuanbai suddenly came to visit. He was one of the few people who knew that Tiandaomen was founded by Yi Ming. Yi Ming greeted himself and entered the study. Brother, I didn't expect that you weren't really dead. I previously inferred that it was Dian Zun deliberately doing this, sure enough. Jin Xuanbai was very happy. Yi Ming, I have let my brother worry, and I can't say more about the inside story. I can tell my brother that on the surface I am the successor to the palace. Jin Xuanbai is a smart man, without asking a few words, just saying, Master, you return home safely, and come home when you have time. Yi Ming nodded. I will go back. By the way, last time I heard that the Emperor arrived and brought 9 9-star battleships. Is this your hand? Jin Xuanbai shook his head. It's not my own reason. However, the Emperor has contacted me. I hope you can go to the 3 Emperors' world. Yi Ming froze. Go to the 3 Emperors' world. I am a little person, will the people in Dawangna Temple follow me? Jin Xuanbai laughed. Ha ha, little man. You are not a small man, beheading and slaying, saving the Tianyuan continent, this method cannot even be used by the 5 Elements Emperor. You are now, but a proper big man. Of course, I know you don't have many people, just a few senior executives. Quote. Yi Ming was silent and didn't think it was a good thing. Brother, what is the Emperor looking for? He asked. I don't know, but I want to come from time to time. The Emperor has great power, and the masters around him are like clouds. He is not going to ask you to play. Jin Xuanbai joked, maybe something happened to you. Help. Don't be arrogant, you have turned the immortal tree into a **** of sacrifice in the heavenly continent. This stroke is shocking and makes people admire and fear. Jin Xuanbai laughed. Yi Ming, brother recognizes this as the immortal tree. Also know that I turned it into a sacrificial god. Not only do I know, I also know that you have a great Timal eater by your side. Yi Ming froze. He did not understand how the other party knew. What's weird, that cat picked the enchanting Dan, but many people saw it, wouldn't I know it? As for the sacrifices to God, I guessed it wasn't so sure, but when I came, I see the weather of that tree, isn't it a patron saint? Yi Ming. So it is, brother, this sacrificial deity. I also did not care about it. It was the cat who did it. I didn't know that the immortal tree could be used this way. Jin Xuanbai. People only know that the immortal tree can sublimate the soul. In fact, it is just the surface. The true value of the immortal tree is that it can absorb all spiritual power, including the power of faith. You turn it into a sacrificial god. The ancients have never done it. I have a hunch that it might become a godlike being. Quote. Master God. Yi Ming smiled. Even if it is a distant future. The Three Emperors world, do you want to go? It doesn't matter if you go, I'll go back. Yi Ming said. I'll give my face to my brother when he goes out. After all, the Emperor is his brother's deity. You don't have to look at me, he's him, I'm me. Jin Zhanbai said. Maybe he will cut me out one day, and then I will be truly free. Yi Mingqi said. I can't figure it out. You are clearly separated. Why do you have an independent mind and even want to get rid of your deity? That method of gasifying Sanqing was originally like this. Except for the deity, I have never seen the other two. However, they seem to have developed better than me, and even one power is not under the emperor. Alas, it seems I have to work hard. Quote. Yi Ming. I'll go there. The emperor is not a small person. I can't refute his face. By the way, can you accompany me on this trip? Jin Xuanbai hesitated and smiled bitterly. I remember telling you that I lost a lot in the Three Emperors. If that person knew that I had passed, he would definitely not let me go. Yi Mingqi said. Due to this important relationship between you and the emperor, who dares to offend you? The problem is that others don't know my identity. My identity is also known to people in the temple. How can outsiders know? Yi Ming. Who is the other party? The only female prince of the Three Emperors world, Leng Yuhu. Yi Ming understood it immediately, and immediately smiled. I don't think you are in trouble, brother, do you think of you? If a woman suffers from a man's disadvantage, in most cases it has a different purpose. Jin Xuanbai flushed slightly and said, I don't hide it. Leng Yuhu is very entangled. I was afraid of her. Yi Ming. Doesn't brother like her? Jin Xuanbai. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that my identity is special. How can we be together as princes? Furthermore, I practice with one heart and don't want to be distracted. Cultivation and feelings are two different things, Yi Ming said. If the brother doesn't hate her, why not be together? Jin Xuanbai sighed. Since you asked for it, that's it for my brother to accompany you. Yi Ming looked at him unwillingly, rolled his eyes and felt that the big brother was a little bit like a half-push daughter-in-law. Brother, when are we going? Yi Ming asked. Xuanbai. Of course, the sooner the better. If there is no problem, we will start tomorrow. Yi Ming said. Okay, I'll just arrange it today. Jin Xuanbai did not leave that day. When the next day, Jin Xuanbai performed his tricks and took Yi Mingzong to break the barriers of the world and went to the Three Emperors world for the second time. Compared with the first visit, Yi Ming is no longer so shocked, so he can observe the world more seriously. Arriving at the imperial city, it happened to be a coincidence. As soon as he entered, a group of fierce horses rushed forward. The first person was the equestrian woman he met when he first returned to the Three Emperors. People said that she was the servant of the Ministry of Defense. Hong Tianzhao, the daughter of the sea. Yi Ming didn't have a good impression on this woman. She felt that her character was rotten and she was ugly. She avoided it immediately. He ignored the woman, but the woman recognized him, suddenly pulling the reins, staring at Yi Ming and asking, Is it you? Behind her, a terrifying breath broke out, this time with a master of longevity. Yi Ming sighed, and as soon as he turned around, he reached behind Jin Xuanbai. This situation, he cannot cope. Let the master brother handle it. Jin Zhan didn't lift his head, raised his feet on the ground, a dark force penetrated the ground, and the ground broke out a few steps away. Boom. This power is the terrible divine power of the longevity powerful divine infant, which can destroy everything. The eternal power of that shot was above, and the fierce horse was knocked down, and his own body was exploded into pieces. However, longevity and vitality are powerful. As long as the skull is not broken, it will not lead to death. He looked at Jin Xuanbai in horror and shouted, Thanks for the grace of not killing. Hong Tianzhao was startled, his face pale. Jin Zan looked at him coldly and said to Yi Ming, "Master, applause." Yi Ming said, "Okay," and the figure drew 3 slaps in a flash. Papapa. 3 beeps. Hong Tianzhao's face was swollen into a pig's head, and his mouth was full of blood. But she had no temper at all, because Jin Xuanbai's intention of killing seemed to hold her back, making her chill. "I read that you are the servant girl of the Ministry of War, spare your life. The next time you run into it, you will never be spared." Hong Tianzhao didn't dare to put one, took his followers, and walked away dingy. In front of Changsheng mighty power, all powers and powers are clouds, and the other party can ignore you before killing them. As a matter of fact, for the power of the Changsheng realm, the court often focused on comforting and would not easily conflict with them. Or to be more straightforward, the power of a long life like Jin Xuanbai, his status is not under the servant of the soldiers, so even if he kills Hong Tianzhao, he will not be charged. Startled away Hong Tianzhao, Yi Ming asked, "Why don't you kill her directly? This woman's brain is sick." Jin Xuanbai said, "Although Hong Tianzhao's father is the servant of the Ministry of War, I am not afraid. However, this Hong Tianzhao's concubine is far above his father." Yi Mingqi said, "You know, Jin Xuanbai, Leng Yuhu once mentioned Hong Tianzhao's concubine. The other party is a strong man with 8 long lives. He has a strange character and should not be offended." Yi Ming was taken aback. Changsheng 8 Realms was very horrible. They called a flying magpie and flew to Wangju Temple, south of the imperial city. The place where the emperor met Yi Ming was not the royal palace, but this Wangju Temple. The 3 emperors' world is compatible with many human civilizations, such as Buddhism, Immortal, Confucian, Shinto, and Wudao. The collision of different civilizations makes the 3 emperors' great world possess an extraordinary vigor and extraordinary potential. Wangju Temple is the headquarters of the Buddhist and Taoist civilization in the 3 emperors' world. The emperor chose to meet here, maybe it has its meaning, and Yi Ming is not surprised. However, Jin Xuanbai had different opinions. He believed that he should be in the palace instead of outside when meeting Yi Ming. After all, the status of the emperor is very honorable, and forces like Wangju Temple have not yet qualified to make him move. However, the two still appeared outside Wangju Temple as scheduled. The building of the Wangju Temple in the 3 emperors' world is not magnificent, but it is extremely rare compared to the Tianyuan mainland. There was no pilgrim in front of the temple gate. Yi Ming frowned and asked, "Brother, is Buddhism so unscrupulous in the 3 emperors' world?" Jin Xuanbai said, "In my memory, Wangju Temple is usually full of pilgrims. Why is there no one today?" Yi Ming moved in his heart and asked, "Brother, it was the emperor who informed you personally and asked you to invite me here." Jin Xuanbai shook his head. "He sent an emperor to the Immortal Temple and handed the will to me, I only knew it." "Did the emperor and the brother use this method all the time?" Yi Ming asked. Jin Xuanbai's face changed. "Master, you suspect that the intention is false?" "Yes, before the emperor contacted me, he always transmitted the voice directly instead of using this method." The two looked around each other. There was a restaurant diagonally across the street. They walked upstairs and took a table next to the window. They ordered a table of dishes, asked for a drink, and chatted while drinking. "Brother, I don't know if I don't know something." Jin Xuanbai. "Master, just ask, as long as I know, nothing can't tell you." Yi Ming's heart warmed up. The master was loyal and kind, and he always treated the brothers calmly, even if he couldn't do it. "I have heard that the relationship between the 3 emperors is not harmonious. The 3 emperors' world, such questions violate taboos," so Yi Ming asked by way of. Jin Xuanbai sighed softly. "You should have heard similar rumors before that the emperor is old and weak, and does not talk about the political affairs, but the emperor and the emperor are both old and strong, so there is more conflict between the two." Yi Ming nodded. "Yes, I heard something similar long ago, I wonder if it is true or not." Jin Xuanbai. "Half is true, half is false." "Oh, how do you say that?" Yi Ming was curious. Jin Xuanbai. The emperor is indeed old, but there is no mention of power failure. Although he does not ask the political affairs, his influence on the world of the three emperors is still there. There is indeed a struggle between the emperor and the emperor. Cooperation. Quote. Oh, how do you say that? Yi Ming didn't understand. He remembered that the emperor had sent a minister to the Tianyuan continent to insult Atabai. If it were not for his shot, Atabai would have to suffer. Jin Xuanbai. Just a while ago, the quasi-permanent emperor has not yet officially reached the position of the extreme emperor. That means that the emperor has reached a settlement with the emperor, and in some aspects they will cooperate. Yi Taiming's real name is immeasurable. Yi Ming heard that he had become the emperor and was happy for him. He said, "Is it necessary for the emperor and the emperor to cooperate? They are all on the top of power." Quote. Of course we have to cooperate because the emperor threatened them. Jin Xuanbai said the inside story that shocked Yi Ming. Although the emperor is old, he has a son named Sikongzan, prince of the emperor. He has an unprecedented qualification and is young. He has already lived in 3 realms. The emperor observed that if everything goes well, Sikongzan may have the opportunity to impact the position of the Lord God. Quote. The emperor can threaten the emperor and the emperor? Yi Ming asked in surprise. The old emperor naturally wanted to suppress the emperor and the emperor in order to allow Sikongzan to successfully become the emperor. Because according to the tradition of the 3 emperors, the emperor's successor can only be born from the emperor and the emperor, not hereditary. Jin Xuanbai said, the emperor loves his son deeply and wants to make him to the throne, which of course touched the interests of the emperor and the emperor. Yi Ming suddenly realized, saying, so it seems that there is cooperation and struggle between the emperor and the emperor. In the future, the emperor's affairs will come to an end, and both of them will have to fight for you. That wouldn't be the case. Jin Zan Beidao said, in history, no matter how powerful the emperor is, it is impossible to get rid of the other emperors, at most to suppress the power of the other party. Even the emperor dare not attack the emperor and the emperor. At most, it is suppression. If not, they will offend the providence of the 3 emperors. If the providence is angry, even the 3 emperors will be wiped out. Quote. Yi Ming suddenly remembered that he had been posing as Long Xiaobai in Qi Tianzhao. At that time, someone faked the dragon Xiaobai. Who assigned the fake dragon Xiaobai? Emperor or emperor? Or someone else? Considering the current situation of the 3 emperors' world, he immediately felt that the undercurrent was surging and extremely peaceful. Brother, if someone really wants us to come to Wangju Temple, there must be a big conspiracy in it, and it must be related to the emperor or the emperor. Jin Xuanbai concluded, I just can't figure it out. How did you know you, master? Quote. Jin Xuanbai hesitated and smiled bitterly. I remember telling you that I lost a lot in the 3 emperors. If that person knew that I had passed, he would definitely not let me go. Yi Mingqi said, due to this important relationship between you and the emperor, who dares to offend you? The problem is that others don't know my identity. My identity is also known to people in the temple. How can outsiders know? Yi Ming. Who is the other party? The only female prince of the 3 emperors' world, Leng Yuhu. Yi Ming understood it immediately, and immediately smiled. I don't think you are in trouble, brother, do you think of you? Jin Xuanbai flushed slightly and said, I don't hide it. Leng Yuhu is very entangled. I was afraid of her. Yi Ming. Doesn't brother like her? Jin Xuanbai. It's not that I don't like it, it's just that my identity is special. How can we be together as princes? Furthermore, I practice with one heart and don't want to be distracted. Cultivation and feelings are 2 different things, Yi Ming said. If the brother doesn't hate her, why not be together? Jin Xuanbai sighed. Since you asked for it, that's it for my brother to accompany you. Ming looked at him unwillingly, rolled his eyes and felt that the big brother was a little bit half-push daughter-in-law. Brother, when are we going? Yi Ming asked. Xuanbai. Of course, the sooner the better. If there is no problem, we will start tomorrow. Yi Ming said, okay, I'll just arrange it today. Jin Xuanbai did not leave that day. When the next day, Jin Xuanbai performed his tricks and took Yi Mingzong to break the barriers of the world and went to the Three Emperors' world for the second time. Compared with the first visit, Yi Ming is no longer so shocked, so he can observe the world more seriously. Arriving at the imperial city, it happened to be a coincidence. As soon as he entered, a group of fierce horses rushed forward. The first person was the equestrian woman he met when he first returned to the Three Emperors. People said that she was the servant of the Ministry of Defense. Hong Tianzhao, the daughter of the sea. Yi Ming didn't have a good impression on this woman. She felt that her character was rotten and she was ugly. She avoided it immediately. He ignored the woman, but the woman recognized him, suddenly pulling the reins, staring at Yi Ming and asking, "Is it you?" Yi Ming ignored her and moved on. The woman sneered and said, "Take it down." Behind her, a terrifying breath broke out, this time with a master of longevity. Yi Ming sighed, and as soon as he turned around, he reached behind Jin Xuanbai. This situation, he cannot cope. Let the master brother handle it. Jin Zan didn't lift his head, raised his feet on the ground, a dark force penetrated the ground, and the ground broke out a few steps away. Boom. This power is the terrible divine power of the longevity powerful divine infant, which can destroy everything. The eternal power of that shot was above, and the fierce horse was knocked down, and his own body was exploded into pieces. However, longevity and vitality are powerful. As long as the skull is not broken, it will not lead to death. He looked at Jin Xuanbai in horror and shouted, "Thanks for the grace of not killing." Hong Tianzhao was startled, his face pale. Jin Zan looked at him coldly and said to Yi Ming, "Master, applause." Yi Ming said, "Okay," and the figure drew 3 slaps in a flash. Papapa. 3 beeps. Hong Tianzhao's face was swollen into a pig's head, and his mouth was full of blood. But she had no temper at all, because Jin Xuanbai's intention of killing seemed to hold her back, making her chill. "I read that you are the servant girl of the Ministry of War, spare your life. The next time you run into it, you will never be spared." Hong Tianzhao didn't dare to put one, took his followers, and walked away dingy. In front of Changsheng mighty power, all powers and powers are clouds, and the other party can ignore you before killing them. As a matter of fact, for the power of the Changsheng realm, the court often focused on comforting and would not easily conflict with them. Or to be more straightforward, the power of a long life like Jin Xuanbai, his status is not under the servant of the soldiers, so even if he kills Hong Tianzhao, he will not be charged. Startled away Hong Tianzhao, Yi Ming asked, "Why don't you kill her directly? This woman's brain is sick." Xuanbai said, "Although Hong Tianzhao's father is the servant of the Ministry of War, I am afraid. However, this Hong Tianzhao's concubine is far above his father." Yi Mingqi said, "You know, Jin Xuanbai. Leng Yuhu once mentioned Hong Tianzhao's concubine. The other party is a strong man with 8 long lives. He has a strange character and should not be offended." Yi Ming was taken aback. Changsheng 8 Realms was very horrible. They called a flying magpie and flew to Wangju Temple, south of the imperial city. The place where the emperor met Yi Ming was not the royal palace, but this Wangju Temple. The Three Emperors' world is compatible with many human civilizations, such as Buddhism, Immortal, Confucian, Shinto, and Wudao. The collision of different civilizations makes the Three Emperors' great world possess an extraordinary vigor and extraordinary potential. Wangju Temple is the headquarters of the Buddhist and Taoist civilization in the Three Emperors' world. The emperor chose to meet here, maybe it has its meaning, and Yi Ming is not surprised. However, Jin Xuanbai had different opinions. He believed that he should be in the palace instead of outside when meeting Yi Ming. After all, the status of the emperor is very honorable, and forces like Wangju Temple have not yet qualified to make him move. However, the two still appeared outside Wangju Temple as scheduled. The building of the Wangju Temple in the Three Emperors' world is not magnificent, but it is extremely rare compared to the Tianyuan mainland. There was no pilgrim in front of the temple gate. Yi Ming frowned and asked, "Brother, is Buddhism so unscrupulous in the Three Emperors' world?" Jin Xuanbai said, In my memory, Wangju Temple is usually full of pilgrims. Why is there no one today? Yi Ming moved in his heart and asked, Brother, it was the emperor who informed you personally and asked you to invite me here. Jin Xuanbai shook his head. He sent an emperor to the immortal temple and handed the will to me, I only knew it. Did the emperor and the brother use this method all the time? Yi Ming asked. Jin Xuanbai's face changed. Master, you suspect that the intention is false? Yes, before the emperor contacted me, he always transmitted the voice directly instead of using this method. Ming stepped back slowly and said, Under the wall, gentlemen, we don't want to go in first. The two looked around each other. There was a restaurant diagonally across the street. They walked upstairs and took a table next to the window. They ordered a table of dishes, asked for a drink, and chatted while drinking. Brother, I don't know if I don't know something. Jin Xuanbai. Master, just ask, as long as I know, nothing can't tell you. Yi Ming's heart warmed up. The master was loyal and kind, and he always treated the brothers calmly, even if he couldn't do it. Brother, I have heard that the relationship between the three emperors is not harmonious. In the three emperors' world, such questions violate taboos, so Yi Ming asked by way of voice. Jin Xuanbai sighed softly. You should have heard similar rumors before that the emperor is old and weak, and does not talk about the political affairs, but the emperor and the emperor are both old and strong, so there is more conflict between the two. Yi Ming nodded. Yes, I heard something similar long ago, I wonder if it is true or not. Jin Xuanbai. Half is true, half is false. Oh, how do you say that? Yi Ming was curious. Jin Xuanbai. The emperor is indeed old, but there is no mention of power failure. Although he does not ask the political affairs, his influence on the world of the three emperors is still there. There is indeed a struggle between the emperor and the emperor. Cooperation. Quote. Oh, how do you say that? Yi Ming didn't understand. He remembered that the emperor had sent a minister to the Tianyuan continent to insult Atabai. If it were not for his shot, Atabai would have to suffer. Jin Xuanbai. Just a while ago, the quasi-permanent emperor has not yet officially reached the position of the extreme emperor. That means that the emperor has reached a settlement with the emperor, and in some aspects they will cooperate. Yi Taming's real name is immeasurable. Yi Ming heard that he had become the emperor and was happy for him. He said, Is it necessary for the emperor and the emperor to cooperate? They are all on the top of power. Quote. Of course we have to cooperate because the emperor threatened them. Jin Xuanbai said the inside story that shocked Yi Ming. Although the emperor is old, he has a son named Sikongzan, prince of the emperor. He has an unprecedented qualification and is young. He has already lived in 3 realms. The emperor observed that if everything goes well, Sikongzan may have the opportunity to impact the position of the Lord God. Quote. The old emperor naturally wanted to suppress the emperor and the emperor in order to allow Sikongzan to successfully become the emperor. Because according to the tradition of the 3 emperors, the emperor's successor can only be born from the emperor and the emperor, not hereditary. Jin Xuanbai said, the emperor loves his son deeply and wants to make him to the throne, which of course touched the interests of the emperor and the emperor. Yi Ming suddenly realized, saying, So it seems that there is cooperation and struggle between the emperor and the emperor. In the future, the emperor's affairs will come to an end, and both of them will have to fight for you. That wouldn't be the case. Jin Zan Beidao said, In history, no matter how powerful the emperor is, it is impossible to get rid of the other emperors, at most to suppress the power of the other party. Even the emperor dare not attack the emperor and the emperor. At most, it is suppression. If not, they will offend the providence of the 3 emperors. If the providence is angry, even the 3 emperors will be wiped out. Quote. Yi Ming suddenly remembered that he had been posing as Long Xiaobai in Qi Tianzhao. At that time, someone faked the dragon Xiaobai. Who assigned the fake dragon Xiaobai? Emperor, or someone else? Considering the current situation of the 3 emperors' world, he immediately felt that the undercurrent was surging and extremely peaceful. Brother, if someone really wants us to come to Wangju Temple, there must be a big conspiracy in it, and it must be related to the emperor or the emperor. Jin Chuanbai concluded, I just can't figure it out. How did you know you, master? In the imperial city, there are three main palace groups, namely the Emperor's Palace, the People's Palace, and the Three Palaces. In addition, there are countless types of buildings, so this palace is very huge. The Imperial Palace is located in the southern part of the Imperial Palace. To the north is the Emperor's Palace, and to the north is the Emperor's Palace. At the Emperor's Hall, Shang Long took Yi Ming to the study. As the Emperor, it is natural that he is busy with his official duties. A boy at the gate met Shang Long and bowed down. His Royal Highness, the Emperor is reviewing the seal. You go through it, I'll ask the Emperor to discuss matters. The doorman responded, and entered in a hurry. Go out a moment, please enter. The study is very large, and the music inside is piled up like a mountain. All of them are suspended in the air, one by one quickly passing in front of the Emperor. If this is not the case, these tens of millions of tunes, let alone one day, will not be finished in 3 years. The Emperor stopped reading inexorably. He looked at Yi Ming and looked at Shang Long again. And smiled. Longer, this is your identity. Who is it? It's not bad, it's already Wu Shengshou. Why did you stay here? Tian Yuan has left an identity. Yi Ming arched his hand. Father Emperor. At that time, the son-in-law felt that this martial arts road was very extraordinary, and he wanted to stay alive. Continue to go on, maybe there will be unexpected gains. The Emperor nodded and smiled. Yes, you are right. Martial arts has great potential if you have the opportunity. The reason why I went to Tianyuan for my father was for your mother and for the mystery of martial arts. Yi Ming. Budo needs the appearance of a truly powerful man. He only needs to make a real martial arts path for his descendants, and later people will soon follow in his footsteps. The Emperor said, yes. At present, only martial arts has been popular. Although the 2 and 3 are also involved, they are all suitable for creators to cultivate, and are not suitable for martial arts in the world. It is a pity. Speaking of this, the Emperor smiled and asked, Longer, I think you are so confident that your strength should not be weak. Yi Ming. Father Emperor, in Tianyuan continent, children have been pretending to be someone named Yi Ming. Yi Ming. Ren Wangyi thought about it. I seem to have heard of it. The Emperor led the army a few days ago. He mentioned this person. Where did he come from? Yi Ming. The other party was originally a small person. He was born in a small town, and was repaired to a low level. However, by chance, he experienced a lot of adventures, and the repair was gradually increasing. One day, I met him and saw him wearing a ruyi robe. Then he killed him and took off his robe. Later, after seeing the women around him were pretty, he easily formed his appearance and walked in Tianyuan. The Emperor said, so, those women, you can take us to the 3 Emperors' world and give your mother a glance. Yi Ming laughed. The time is not ripe yet, I will talk about this later. What the child has to say, since then, I don't know why the child's luck has skyrocketed. After encountering many good things, he has not only become an heir to the immortal temple, but also he owned a lot of wealth and founded the Heavenly Gate. The Emperor wondered. Tian Daomen. I have never heard of it for my father. Why did you create a martial art for no reason? Operating a martial art will consume a lot of resources and effort. You should now focus on cultivation, not foreign things. Yi Ming. I don't know what the Father Emperor said. I've been to the Terran land and brought a group of geniuses from there. The Emperor was startled. As the Terran hometown, there is a strong repressive force there. I wanted to go there for my father, but after all, I didn't make it. I didn't expect you to go. Yi Ming. Many of my disciples are the capital of the Tao, and some of the poor are also divine. The Emperor was shocked and said, is it actually a Taoism? Yi Ming nodded. Yes, the father-in-law. In fact, the son-in-law is now the middle class and will continue to break through soon. Emperor. The body is not trivial. The energy of the Tianyuan world should only carry 3 or 5 and 8 taos. Therefore, you should take them to the 3 emperor world as soon as possible. This is the stage for their growth. Yi Ming said. Children used to listen to people saying that the innate Tao body has only a few digits in each world. But strangely, at least 10 of my disciples have the Tao body, which does not affect each other. Quote. The emperor smiled suddenly. I understand for my father. They come from the human race and are not subject to this restriction. In this case, let them practice in the Tianyuan continent. However, if you use it for your father in the future, don't hesitate. Yi Ming laughed. Where does the father say, as long as your old man says a word, I will even run for my life? Why would you let your life be for your father? The emperor was in a good mood, and he hadn't laughed so long. Shang Long said, Father Emperor, I called for the separation. I just wanted to meet Yu Tianzhong's challenge. Ashamed, my deity is not as good as the separation. The emperor said, this is also normal. It is the father's part. The body is also strong through my deity, and each encounter is different. However, if you want to meet the challenge, it is better to stand by the deity, otherwise it will be easy to fall into the wrong hands. Shang Long. The emperor's meaning is that I declare to the outside that he is a deity. Is he the deity? He pointed to Yi Ming. The emperor nodded. Exactly. In this way, those people will have nothing to say, and will be able to cut off the qualifications of Yu Tianying and others. Yi Ming said, Father Emperor, instead of waiting passively, it is better to take the initiative to attack. Emperor's eyes flashed. What do you mean? You want to challenge the 2 who won before? Yi Ming nodded. The 2 defeated me. This is a stain on life. I must find it back. Furthermore, if I can defeat Wu Tianshou's 3 emperor geniuses with Wu Shengshou as a means of fame demonstration. Quote. The emperor smiled, haha, and said, that's right, that's what makes him a father's temper. As long as you have confidence, you can post a post today. Since the emperor promised, leave the rest to the emperor said, well, you can rest assured that you are willing to fight boldly, even if you have cut off the 2 small evil barriers. Yi Ming nodded, and through his sympathy with Shang Long, he learned that the 2 previous challengers were Yu Tianshuan and Ji Sheng. One of them was the son of Dang Chao Wu Shangyu and the other was a son of Dian Chao Yipan, the grandson of Jishu Shangshu. Ji Sheng went to Qi Tianzhou with 2 other ministers, and he was a confidant to the emperor. Seeing that the emperor wanted to read the memorial again, he moved in his heart and asked, Father, this memorial, can the child do 1 or 2 for him? The emperor laughed. Why, you are also interested in being emperor? In such a question, the ordinary emperor said to the prince that the prince was afraid of being scared to death, but Yi Ming laughed. It is for the emperor of the child, and the child is not interested. With pleasure. As soon as the emperor waved his sleeves, tens of thousands of chapters flew to Yi Ming. He was also not polite, urging Yuan Ying to look at them one by one. I saw a quick flip in the chanting, and the speed was not slower than that of the emperor. By reviewing the memorials, Yi Ming also learned more about the power structure of the 3 emperors. The 3 emperors' world is governed by the emperor, and the emperor. The emperor is in charge of the operation of the heavenly path, including the communication of God's will, the enshrinement of the gods, and so on. The emperor is in control of the emperor. Minerals, and other things. The emperor is naturally in charge of people's livelihood, appointment and removal of official positions, and so on. The 3 emperors each performed their duties and cooperated with each other. In theory, the emperor was the highest, followed by the emperor, and the emperor had the lowest status. But in fact, because the emperor is in charge of the promotion of officials, the power is not small, and it is also one of the busiest affairs. In contrast, the emperor and the emperor are much more leisurely. However, the appointment and removal of some important official positions still require the permission of the emperor and the emperor, such as the prime minister, a product master, and the vassals of the princes. The non-personal emperor can make a ruling and must be determined by the three emperors. Most of these memorials can be decided by the emperor alone, such as prison, promotion, construction of large-scale fortifications, etc. All are adjudicated by the emperor. After reading thousands of chapters in a row, Yi Ming could make an instant decision without any difficulty. The 8-element scoring array has powerful computing power, and generally small things can't stump him. However, one of the movements made him hesitate. The content of the memorial is that in Ping'an County under the jurisdiction of Annan, bandits have recently run rampant and disasters have spread. 1/3 of the county residents have fled to other places. Now King Annan has sent 8 magistrates to deal with the matter, but all died on the way to take office. At present, King Annan has no other choice, so he wrote to the emperor, hoping that the central government would help. Similar things are actually not a big deal. In the thousands of previous chapters, more than half of them are bigger. However, it is strange that a small county town, why can't even the master of a country manage it? What is the truth in this? Seeing Yi Ming pause, the emperor reached out to take the memorial, and glanced at the road. It's Ping'an County again, this Ping'an County is not safe. Yi Mingqi said, "Father, have you had a similar memorial before?" The emperor nodded. When the first 6 county magistrates were killed, I sent messengers to investigate. What is unexpected is that the messengers were actually on the road. Yi Ming. Did the emperor never send anyone after that? I've been busy with other things lately, I have no time to take care of it. The emperor thought for a while, longer. After the battle of decisive battles, would you like to go to Ping'an County to resolve this matter? Yi Ming. How about the messenger sent by the emperor before? You don't need to worry about this. Sending you to your father will naturally help the masters. Yi Ming thought for a while, and said, Father Emperor has life, sons and daughters should go all out. Leaving the emperor's imperial study, Yi Ming monk returned to their princely residence. The area of the prince's house is not small. There are hundreds of houses, large and small, and 100,000 guards. Yi Ming picked a small, 6-story building surrounded by empty spaces. This building is located in a bamboo forest, which is very quiet and rarely disturbed on weekdays.